Alright, what's up everybody? Hoang Zero here, and today we have some competitive analysis content where we're going to be going over the top 8 from the most recent EU Nationals. Joining me today, we do have a couple of guests to help me analyze. We have Joey here. Joey is a really great player. You want to do a little bit of an introduction of some kind?
Hello. I'm Joey or Jaxie if you're in the Discord. I got top 7 at the Dallas Regional, and I've won a couple regionals in the past in 2022. I took a break in 2023. But yeah,
I like how you
excited to be here.
I like how you specified top 7 and not top 8 specifically because you got 7.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, and then
I was on such a dream run.
that was a crazy run. That was a really good run. He was the yellow vaccine player back in Cardfest. Okay, and then
Yeah.
we also have Zero. Everyone knows Zero.
Yep.
And then we also have EU sensational icon Jambo himself.
Jimbino!
Hey guys, Jumbo TCG here. I know the voice is it's a bit raspy. I've been sick after Utrecht, but it was such a great weekend. I think Bandai put on like a relatively good event. I will say, I think last year's Nationals there was a bit more stuff to do, but like the experience, the risk, the sheer size of the event was just like blown out the water from last year. But I think Bandai did a good job.
So Jambo, being the only EU representative in this call, I have to ask, how was your nationals run?
Listen. Day one, it went a bit shaky. The whole day was shaky. From round one, I could already tell the vibe that was gonna happen throughout the day. It's gonna be like, it's either gonna be like I'm gonna 2-0 them, or like it's gonna be a 10-minute best set where I'm gonna lose. It's basically what the day was. What the day was. 10 minutes of me winning 2-0, 10 minutes of me getting smacked on 2-0. So
Right.
So I have a really important question.
Oh,
So for us,
no.
it's usually like, what do we call it? We call it scoop and go get pizza. What's the EU depression food of choice?
we don't have depression food. We just have depression drinks.
Oh.
Because
I heard all their food's depression food.
at most UK events, they do it at the like NEC, which is like a big convention center. There's a pub right outside where the tournament hall is. So the strat is you go X3 and you just drop and you go get a pint down you, and you're just sitting there and drink the whole day while your
Oh, man.
friends are winning all their rounds.
Convenient.
So it's pretty good.
That does sound, yeah, that'd be the move for me. That'd be lit.
So okay, so
I'll,
Drop line. Yeah, this is it.
I'll put in some plans for Orlando then.
So that reminds me. This was a story from Cardfight Vanguard, mind you. Right, this was a long time ago. This was the first ever regionals for V Series, and one of our friends. I'm not gonna say his name, but James and Joey, you both know him. Certain Kagero player, right? He lost round 1, and I remember he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna lock in, guys." He put in his earbuds. He went to go listen to his music in the hallway, and then he went to go play round 2. He lost to the Shadow Paladin starter deck, and then immediately went home.
This way home.
That's just how Vanguard is, man. Sometimes
It's a skill issue if I've ever seen it. That's a skill issue if I've ever seen it. You lost to a trial deck? Nah.
I remember I saw that, and it lives so rent free in my head. It's actually insane, like to this day.
Wait, wasn't that the event I won?
Yeah, you won the event. You ended up winning the event. Yeah, both of you actually won. You won day 1,
flex.
and Joey won day 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was supposed to beat James, but then I got caught up in the restroom, and
I remember
my
that.
opponent wouldn't let me play. I
Yeah.
was super sad.
All right. Okay. So getting back on track. Right. My bad. Look, when you're with the boys, you just tend to get off track. But so yeah, top 8. Mirage came out full force. Obviously, I think going into the event, a lot of people kind of assumed Mirage was going to be the best deck, and Mirage definitely put out the results to say it was the best deck. Thanks to Yuxo, who was a player that made top cut. Not this top 8 top cut, but like day 2 top cut.
But he got top 16, no?
Yeah,
he got top 32.
Top 32, Yuxo,
Top
but
32,
Yuxo
okay.
did, and he won Swiss. He was first place in Swiss.
Wow.
And he was playing Levia, so he was X1 after everything was said and done on Levia. His only loss was Imperial Magna, so congrats to Yuxo for that. And he did send me the top cut, actually, so it was 9 Mirage, 4 Great Angels, 4 Takimika, 3 Magnas, 2 Levia, 2 Imperial, 2 Purple Hybrid, 1 Red Hybrid, 1 Birds, 1 Mother Reaper Control, 1 Imperial Armor, 1 Demon Lords, and 1 Lucimon. So,
yeah, I think we're just looking at general result trend. Even in NA, Mirage is just doing really well in general, right? Like, it's really hard to dispute. Like, I know this meta right now is kind of volatile, and like, there's nothing really quote unquote best second format because everything feel like nothing feel too extremely dominant. But if you're gonna have to pick a best second format, I think Mirage is probably the best contender.
yeah.
I think that's pretty.
I mean, it's just so versatile, right? Like, it generates so much memory. It has multi-attacking, has a lot of control aspects. It has Source Strip.
Does it have any Doom matchup? I can't think of any matchup that's auto lose for you.
I mean, all your auto lose matchups are very rogue. So
Yeah. I mean, like that. There's no real popular deck in the meta that you auto lose to, where other decks kind of have various issue into some matchup or just lose to themselves, right? And Mirage is just like the one deck that's like, oh, I have pretty good matchup spread across the board.
Well, I mean, your 7 Great Demon Lord matchup is a little bit shaky, admittedly.
Yeah.
Like, unless you see Otama, then like it gets a little bit rough. And a lot of lists have they've just cut Otama entirely because they're just like, I just won't pair into this matchup. So like,
but then you can also make the argument 7 Great Demon Lord is not a super popular deck. Like, it obviously exists.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, because it's not popular, people have just opted to like cut the Otama. So
yeah.
So yeah, overall, Mirage did really well. 4 Great Angels, 4 Great Angels, 3 Great Angels. I only say 4 because there's 4 of them in Top Cut.
4.
They tied for the second most representation in Top Cut, and I'll be honest, I didn't expect it to outperform decks like Takimika. So it's, I mean, like, granted, it's probably one of the better decks into like Mirage, because like obviously you have like bounce protection and whatnot, but still, I didn't expect it to be.
How many Takes made day 2 though?
4. So they tied with 3 Great Angels, which.
I think they all got stopped at top 16.
Yeah. None of the Takimikas made it to top 8.
That's called justice.
I do actually think that's very interesting though, that no Takimikas made it into top 8.
How many rounds was it in day 1 and day 2 combined?
It was 10 rounds day 1 and then top 32 for day 2.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So how many made top 32 in day 1?
4.
4?
Yeah.
That's really interesting because just going by the numbers, right? Like, if that deck loses to itself, it's probably losing in day 1 because you just have to go through more rounds to get to top 32. So in theory, if you make day 2, you have to play less average games. So maybe between all those Take players, they just didn't find their full combo in time because like that deck doesn't really auto lose anything. It more loses to itself. You don't find specific pieces, right? In general, if you see everything, it's probably winning the game against most decks. Outside of like some decks will have like specific setup you can do to prevent the OTK. But in general, like if that deck sees everything, it's probably gonna win most of the time. So it's really interesting to me that all 4 of them just didn't even make top 8 during day 2.
And then
it was kind of crazy.
And then Magna has 3 in Top Cut. Obviously none of them made it to top 8, but Magna is definitely one of those decks I feel like was on a lot of people's radars just because like you have new Hoang, which fixes one of the deck's biggest issues, being like you just get blocked out and you can't reproc. And so there's less of a reliance on the Blinding Ray because of that. But I don't know about you guys, but Magna has previously, and still to an extent, had consistency issues for me when I was testing it a lot. We're just like something because you run so many options, right? And sometimes, and it's not you don't climb.
It's just kind of inherently kind of bricky.
Yeah, like you don't climb naturally either, so you're not cycling as much as like other decks. So like it's like noticeably like it felt less consistent than other decks. And then like if you didn't see the Magna X, then like it was like really rough because then like a lot like you were just out of plays like completely.
Yeah, it has the problem of like you need to see your specific 4 of more than a lot of other decks would. I would argue, right? Like a lot of other decks, if you don't see that specific your main 4 of whatever level 6 is, you're kind of okay for a little while. Magna's like, what are you doing if you don't see your Magna X?
I mean, yeah, you're playing with level 4s up until that point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Levia taking top cut, first place in Swiss, and then failing to make top 8. Unfortunate, but I do think Levia is like in a pretty solid position in the format. Um,
It's it's not bad
I
deck by any
definitely
means. It just
no,
kind of have
it's
like
pretty
some
good.
really weird. It has some awkward matchup,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. And then Imperial. I think Imperial. Actually, if we want to just jump straight into Imperial, actually, so Imperial as a deck, and I am sharing my screen, just FYI for everyone to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a deck that like kind of like fell off of everyone's radar, right? I feel like for like as strong as Imperial is, a lot of people just stopped talking about it entirely, because everyone was like so focused on like Takemika, Mirage, even Levia, right? Like it's like I didn't hear a lot of talk about this deck, and then here we are, second place, like they're going to Worlds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird situation because Pyodra is still a really messed up card.
Right. Yeah.
But you do run into the problem of like I think for a while Levia got really popular,
Mm-hmm.
and this deck kind of have like a really weird matchup into Levia because of like the interaction between Petition and everything. So I guess maybe that's one of the main reasons you can say like it kind of fell off the radar, and as people try new stuff, but as the meta kind of starts shifting around, it's just like maybe this deck is good again.
Yeah,
Well, I think there's first and foremost. I mean, congrats to this guy. What's
yeah.
his name? The guy at the top.
This was Christos.
Christos?
Yeah.
Yeah, very impressive. I think first like the biggest thing is this isn't Armor Imperial, which
Mm-hmm.
is like kind of the sauce right now.
Yeah.
But I think there's just a real cap on Magna X decks right now, ever since Hexablau, and now, they had 3 Great Angels in top 16, 2 of them converting to a top 8 finish, which is pretty impressive for conversion. That means Magna is just a really bad card into that field, right? And so it's very impressive that they went with the alternative because a lot of people aren't running this because of, as James said, Levia was pretty popular for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So this is and it looks like he has a lot of good answers for floodgates. I'm not sure how he went through the whole day into Mirage. I'd like to maybe see what he played against and how he did it because some of this looks like it might have some hard time with Mirage.
Well, so
But for the most part, it looks like he was just
we do know the finals was Mirage versus Imperial.
yeah.
And the infamous 3 Mirage on the board versus like poor Wormmon and Raising or whatever. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
they went to game 3 though, right? So like that's
Yeah, exactly. So he got a
yeah.
game.
He got
Yeah.
he was almost there.
Imperial is
Yeah.
also like really good into 3 Great Angels.
It.
I don't know.
I don't know about that one. Yeah.
I feel like Partition Pyojima is just really strong into 3 Great Angel field in general.
So okay.
Well,
Okay.
yeah,
So
it could be.
because of Pillowmon,
Yeah,
Pillow kind of just like stops it. Like it's like
also Shadow Seraphi.
yeah, Shadow
Like they
Seraphi,
just
Pillow. Like you also like if you're on the Revelation of Light build, which I know was like popular prior to this event.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert: none of the 3 Great Angel lists in this Top Cut run Revelation.
Oh really?
No,
Yeah.
none of them do. But Revelation was very popular at regional level events, so that also like helps a lot because like you go like Angelwoman, Revelation, you pop the Pyildra, like you spawn into like the floating like 4s, and then they like immediately gets sniped by Revelation. So
Yeah.
that was another thing going for it.
Yeah,
Jambo,
there's no ruin mode this format. Like ruin mode's not really a good card, and I don't think that's really debatable.
yeah,
With purple hybrid just saying it doesn't
Mhm.
care, and most of the other decks being able to play around it.
yeah.
You
Jambo,
just don't see
did
it.
you have something you wanted to say?
I was gonna say the finals. Sorry, It it was to talk about the game 2.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Jorge almost won game 2. Like I was sat there watching it. He resolved double Mirage. He went to 10. He burnt 5 security, and like his last game action was like bait Zudo.
yeah.
And if he had the Zudo, he had won the game, I think.
Mm.
So the game 2 was kind of him bricking. But yeah, he did take a game off him. Finals was kind of like the most disgusting best of 3 of Digimon I've ever watched, though.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, that's what I heard.
it was half Jorge showing off, half him like just dissecting this man. It was actually disgusting.
I just remember seeing that screenshot of the field of like 9 bodies on board or something like
Bro,
that.
every time he'd resolve a Mirage, he'd do like a cheeky little wink at the camera.
Hey, that's
Or
how
like
you
a
do
little,
it, bro.
or
Back
like,
to
or
back
like a little
finalists,
smirk.
bro. That's him.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I think he's the first person to make worlds back to back now for Digimon, right?
Yeah.
For Digimon.
Yeah, for
And
Digimon
I
specifically.
mean, he got first last year too, right?
No, he got second.
He
He,
came.
he second
Yeah,
Oh,
last
he got
year.
second.
Yeah.
So he got second, and then
First
he got
this
first
year.
this year. So
Mhm.
he's just him.
All right. So how do we feel about this list? Is like obviously I think the biggest standouts towards this are like the one of blue red XVmon, the green purple Stingmon. Like I feel like those are two, like probably the two biggest standouts for this. Like I feel like you'd never see those, right?
I like the green purple Stingmon as just a floodgate counter because
Mhm.
you just kind of digivolve into it. It replaces Lydra, but Lydra is really contentious as a card.
Mhm.
I think a lot of Imperial players, as someone who used to play it in BT16, I never really wanted to run more than one, but I hated seeing a Madoki or anything.
Mhm.
So having a inline answer probably I imagine came up a good bit. Um,
So.
that's the immediate thing. That and the Dragon Mode OTK.
Mhm.
That's the goo. That's the OG. That's the I'm about to sauce you,
Yeah.
and God can't help you from what I'm about to do. So that's the one too. Like so I love that he's running that.
Mhm. All right, and then Jambo, James, you guys have any thoughts towards this list?
No, I like it a lot.
All right, Jambo.
I mean, like it's fairly standard what we've seen from Imperial, right? Like I think Imperial's pretty decent call into the meta.
All right, and then Jambo,
He's also not running any sec bombs, which is
that is
interesting.
true. Yeah, no security bombs
Okay,
whatsoever.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to optimize for
Yeah, he trying to.
consistency.
Yeah, he trying to sauce.
All right,
Yeah,
and then
just trying to go and win.
all right, and then we'll go ahead. We talked about second place. Let's talk about first place, right? Mirage. This is from Jorge. Who, by the way, I learned from Jambo. He is the Spanish voice actor for Mickey Mouse. Apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
We're literally a Mickey Mouse region. It's so.
okay.
We've never beat the allegations.
Oh, I do
that's
like.
that's the Disney buff.
Oh, I do like that one of the other
Yeah,
Mirage.
so like this deck, very standard for the most part, and then you like scroll down, and then you get to this. We get to BT13 Mirage Galgamon.
Yeah.
And I made Oscar or Llama literally translate the deck profile because it was in Spanish, and I was like, what does he say about this card? And he goes, literally, I just wanted to play this card. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, nice.
It's not so base.
Yeah, it's funny. You look at this list, right? You're looking and you're like, oh, one of, and then to the right, you're like, wait, one of Hex Bluff.
Okay, so he does go a little bit like later in the video. He does go a little bit more in depth about it. He talked about the reason why this card specifically is really good. Is because he felt like deletion was such like an integral part of the format. It's like you have Ancient Greymon, Levia, what other like Purple Hybrid, right? But you have like a bunch of like deletion based decks, and so Evade just felt really strong. Not to mention the fact that when you bounce a card, like when you bounce the Tamer back versus bot decking the Tamer, that triggers all of your inheritables.
Yeah.
He said those are the primary reasons as to why he opted for the BT13 Mirage. What do you all think? Like, do you actually think that's better than like second Hexablow?
I don't. Hexablow is just such a crazy card.
Hexablow
Like,
is
it
broken,
is.
yeah.
It is like insane what Hexablow's done for this deck to push it to this next level. So the floodgate and the removal of the tamer is really strong. I can see his argument for evade. I think that's like a really strong effect that I don't think people really think about. But still, over the like, I just sometimes you just win on Hexablow. The sec plus jamming, you just clear it all and you just say, "All right, GG, go next." Like, it is brutal. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think part of me thinks like Mirage is just so privileged that you can just
shove in
you can
whatever
just
and
do
get away
stuff.
with
Yeah,
it.
like you don't have you don't
Three
have
burst
to.
modes is also interesting because I see a lot more lists now that's like cut down to two burst mode instead of three.
Yeah, 2, 3,
Uh,
like
Well, so
maybe he's just
there's
trying to
also
maybe he's trying to optimize more for OTK and
it
not
looks like it because he's on 4
yeah.
boost and 4 training. So
Yeah, I think he's just trying to like this is more closer to
Well,
classic Mirage.
So
and
he
9 5s.
in his interview, he was very adamant about never swinging.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he was like very like, I'm just gonna burn all of their security. I will never interact with my opponent. Yeah.
Fair.
Then that make 3 Bushmo really interesting because Bushmo is just inherently want you to swing, right? So
Yeah, he was just like very, he was very anti-swing. I also think like the two blocker no redirect Huangku is very interesting because we look at lists, we see either like they're playing 1 Zudo to Huangku or like 1 Huangku 2 Zudo, but instead he's actually opted for just 2 of both, and he's playing 9 level 5, which I think is really interesting.
Well, that just means that he just doesn't. He probably never wants to like hard slam
Mhm.
or to devolve into
Zudo,
Zudo,
yeah,
which probably makes a lot of sense if you're playing against the mirror.
mhm.
Because one thing I've experienced is if I did evolve Zudo, I'm like, this stack sucks because you
Yeah,
just eat utter crap to a Hexablow clapback or a
right.
Zudo in return. It just sucks. So he probably the extra level 5 probably meant that he never had to actually risk overflow in
Mhm.
my
yeah. One thing that's also interesting think to think about is we're gonna have scramble soon.
This is true. Yeah, Scramble will be legal for
Yeah.
us. Mhm.
All right. So this people who play lists similar to this will probably try to add scramble into the list.
Which
So that'd be interesting to see.
Scramble's broken for this deck. To be let's
Yeah.
be frank. So you know.
Because like you scramble, like you get your stack clear, and you scramble, and you just climb into like another Mirage because of how cheap your evolution are. Like
Yeah.
scramble plus 1 training is usually enough to recover all the way back to Mirage.
yeah.
And a fun fact I learned the other day is that OCE National is actually EX8.
Those lucky punks, I
Yeah,
hate them.
so they get a deal with Gallantmon X like
They get
in medieval.
Yeah,
they get
that would
ink,
be
bro.
that would be a really interesting meta because we haven't gotten too many Japanese result for EX8 yet, but EX8 is a very interesting
Well,
deck in terms of set in terms of the meta.
I think we've actually gotten a pretty decent amount of results for EX8. Actually, we've had multiple majors now. I think.
Well,
We had
wait, but do they even they don't have the other half of BT19 like we're
No,
missing it too.
they have it.
no,
JP
They
They
have
has
have
it.
it.
it?
Yeah, JP has it.
they have
No,
everything.
no, no.
JP.
I mean like OCE.
Oh, OC. Yeah, OCE is missing the other half of
That
19.
means
Yeah.
Gallant's not going to be nearly as strong as it
This
is
is correct. Yes.
as in.
Yeah, it's gonna be missing some pieces, but I'm trying to think.
I mean, you run the
Uh,
rookie, you run the level 6,
yeah,
No mem sets
you
on
run
that
the
or
Oh
ace,
yeah, no mem setter. Mhm.
no mem setter.
the biggest thing is the Tocado. The
Yeah.
Tocado giving
Yeah,
Ray is huge too for the deck.
yeah,
But you can survive off of BT17 Gallant. I mean,
Yeah.
the deck will still be fairly competent, but I don't know if it's as good as it is right now in Japan. It might
Wait,
be
before
missing a little.
we get three
Yeah,
GAs, can we look at the other two Mirage lists?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
we can do that real quick.
I want to
Yeah.
see if there's some comparison.
Okay,
Part of
so
it is that Jorge is like, I mean, when you go back to back like that, you're just the best player in your
this is
region.
true. Yeah,
So
that's true.
congrats to him.
Yeah, so we do have top 8 Mirage. We see here he actually did adopt the double Otama. He's also on 2 Full Moon Meteor Impact, which I can only imagine is like possibly for like just like
The mirror.
yeah, like mirror, like or talking Mika, right? It's like blowing them out of security.
Yeah,
Well,
and Hammer.
the inherent problem with that is both of those decks like just burn. Also, like so you run into the issue like you're kind of trying to RNG the Take not burning this specific card, and like
Yeah,
you're also trying to hope like the Mirage is not burning this card. So that's kind of like the low problem with this
Yeah.
card. Like running bombs in general doesn't matter.
Yeah, and so we do see in fact the 2-1 ratio on the Zudo Huanku.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I feel like this is a little bit more in line with like a traditional Mirage list we've been seeing like prior to this event.
Yeah.
Especially with like the double like 2-2 on Thomas. I feel like that's pretty like standard for most Mirage players. I do think it's interesting that he's opted for the 1 Siako. I mean, like I guess you have to make room somewhere. But I feel like Siako is just a more overall impactful floodgate in the format versus like Otama, because like Siako denies training, which is I mean, training is just such a big part of the game now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Training and ex ante. So
Yeah, exactly, right. Protoform and whatnot.
yeah.
And I also, interestingly enough, he's opted for the 1 Gauga that plays out Thomas instead of the bird that bounces. What is it, Jaiku, something like that.
ZK, yeah.
Zake,
Seabird. Yeah.
Bao Zakea. But like this makes sense, right? Like, he's playing 4 Thomas versus like the other, which was only playing 3. So like I get it. This feels like a little bit like I said, this is I don't dislike this list. This I feel like
Yeah, I don't like as many tamers
Mhm.
personally as someone
Yeah.
who plays Mirage. I found that running less feels better. He's also not running Ice Wall, which
Yeah.
I think is pretty.
broken.
Ice Wall's broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
The modern the modern variant of Mirage isn't so focused on like punching to win the game because you don't really need all the tamers to OTK that much. Usually you're just burning them out most of the time.
Yeah. Jambo, do you feel any way about this deck?
I definitely feel like what James was saying is better. The modern variant is just like it's just how the modern playstyles evolved over time.
Yeah.
It's just
It's just safer, right? Like you have the ability to play slower. You don't have to try and do rush OTK. You just sit on Mirage and try to get all this memory value as you're burning them out, right? And that's what kind of Jorge did in the finals, right? He just went into a bunch of different regular Mirages instead of opting for the OTK. So I think that's probably more stable into a lot of matchup because swinging is scary, man. That's all it is.
Yeah. So what I do think is interesting, and this is like a really random shower thought, right? Blue has this privileged Bukamon egg, like not this Bukamon, but like the jamming Bukamon.
Yeah.
And this is one of the few decks that doesn't care enough to run it because they're so like they have jamming shoved into their mechanic.
Yep, yeah. Galgamon. Galgamon's pretty good.
That's so broken, you know. Like,
and if you're not on Galgamon, you're not swinging. So.
Yeah, Galgamon give you jamming. The level 5 give you battle protection.
Yeah, and then we do have the other top 8 list, and then
Emperor.
So this
Digi-Emperor.
This is
Digi-Emperor.
This is very akin to the list that actually I believe it got first place. Yeah, it got first place at a major in Asia. And it was from one of the Unkers. I want to say it was Slicks. I believe it was Slicks. I'm like 90% positive it was Slicks.
It was probably Slicks.
Yeah, like what matchup are you targeting with the Digi-Emperor? Just purple hybrid, right?
Well, so
yeah.
I mean, it's just so the logic is that like there's rookie like move out rookie out of raising is still like so impactful. Like in the mirror, for example, like if they move out.
I guess we have if you with the GA in the meta, we also have Patamon,
it's like
this weekend Patamon.
It's like Patamon. If you move out Galmon, they try to do like the Galga shenanigans, like this, like taking out 2 memories, like pretty significant. This is a lot more heavy on like the control sort of aspect. If we've noticed, although it's only 1 Zudo again. Like we pointed out, the 2-1 Huanku Zudo ratio, right? Like I flip flop. Yeah. They've also played the 2 copies of the Bazooka. But yeah. Also no OTK Mirage, right? I mean not Mirage. Thomas. So no 3-cost Thomas. That's whatsoever, right? They instead opted that for the.
That's the main change, right? Like this is fairly standard for the most part. The only really big difference is seeing the Digi-Emperor. I guess it kind of makes sense into some matchup. So Digi-Emperor is really big meta card. It's really depend on what you think the meta is going to be.
Yeah, for sure.
I just don't think it's that worth this meta. But
yeah,
I mean, it's one of those cards where when it works, right? So
yeah, I'm kind of leaning the same. Like I just feel like there's not enough impact for rookie in this meta for this card to take up 2 slots, but I could be wrong. I guess
he got top 8. So
I mean, he's cooking, dude. He's cooking.
Yeah, he's cooking something. So
we just fell Luger as well. Just
all right.
Take, just stopping Take.
That's true. Also, yeah, Take Mika. Yeah, stop Luga.
Oh, Take, yeah. Take is actually pretty relevant. So I guess that's fair. And Take Mirage, in my opinion.
Okay.
I guess the main thing is they don't have Scramble. Scramble does enable a lot more BS that Digi-Emperor can't stop. Like, yeah, you don't have to move out the Luga. You just revive the Luga, and then you go into your OTK combo off the Luga when you have Scramble, right? Yeah, so.
Also, Red Hybrid. It helps with Red Hybrid too. No, that was a hard matchup to begin with, but
no, because half the time they're just pulling out a Goonie.
Yeah, I think they can just evolve in raising.
Well, I feel like sometimes they move up the flamer like an Uko or something like that. But
like even into purple hybrid, they can just evolve the dust in raising too. So that's kind of
All right, moving on. 3 Great Angels. Right, this is 3rd place. This is. I feel like this was like a very like out there list, right? Like this when you look at historically speaking, like a lot of the previous 3 Great Angel lists, a lot of them are like we're playing QP, and like they'll play the Kari package, but like they'll include like Revelation. Not a lot ran Uko. I don't think any ran Uko actually. And
Yeah, the random rapid mark.
and then so I don't think rapid is random. I think rapid is, from what I understand, is pretty like has been staple in this deck for a long time. But I think the real kicker is this card right here. Yeah, Shadow Serafi I think is the really big kicker.
I think that card is probably a good call, honestly. Like, cause
it's probably the Mirage card counter.
Yeah, it also stopped certain combo setup, right? Like into, for example, Purple Hybrid, you can stop them from looping an additional tamer.
Yeah, so it stops Velgar. Anytime they go for Mirage and they burn one, you de-digivolve them, so they can never actually go into burst mode to attempt to do like clear this. Which is really
stop Take.
Yeah, it can stop Take, right? Because if they shoot so they have Domini plus this. If they go Take snipe Domini, and then they swing at security, well, Shadow Serafi just de-digivolve the Take, and you're like, okay, cool. And then if vice versa, if you kill this instead of the Domini, then this is just gonna snipe the Take because it heals one, then -4 for each, right? So this is good into Domini. I mean, not Domini. This is good into Mirage. This is good into Take. This is good into Purple Hybrid. I feel like he's just really good into a lot of stuff. Like he's good into Red Hybrid too, right?
Yeah, because they
like if you just leave it.
Yeah, so this is just a really really good meta call. Which, speaking of meta calls, I'm gonna do this really sick thing called Shadow Seraphimon. How much does this alt art cost? $1.44. It's toying.
I didn't even know this card had an alt art.
Yeah, fun. Well, it actually has multiple alt arts because it has the champion art as well. Yeah, that was gross. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go put in my order for this.
This shit.
Okay, but jokes aside, yeah. So also he is on double ruin. So I know Joey earlier in the video you made this point that you don't think ruin mode is very good. Obviously this player disagrees. He thinks ruin mode is the goat, right?
Yeah. Well, if he's de-digivolving the way that you think with everything, like he's de-digivolving passing turn with Kari and then just breaking board with the ruin, it works out as like, hey, this is a game plan here.
Yeah.
You're going to be locked out for the next 2 turns, and then by the time you get back, it's GG's.
So the only thing I do know is that this Shadow Serafi does not have the black text box that it is an angel. It is a seraph, which means it is not protected by Domini. So that is a very significant detail to note. So like you can be like, oh dude, this is so broken. Well, like, yes, it's strong, obviously, but this can still be removed. Like this is not immune. So do keep that in mind, right?
You just Zudo eats it up.
Yeah, Zudo eats that card. Also, we do have only one Shadow Serafi Ace. I think this card is broken. Obviously, it's just like
1 is crazy.
Yeah, one is crazy. 3 Cherubi. So obviously, it looks like he went for a more like. I would say a more aggressive approach with the Cherubi and everything, but like at the same time he also plays the 4 purple Kari, and Kari to me screams like a controlled defensive style of gameplay, right?
Yeah.
Where you're getting value slowly across like as turns pass, the Kari is getting more and more value. Using the Kari every time like the Mirage bounces your security, okay, well you're gonna steal back the memory, possibly force them to just like lose out on turns.
Is Rapid really that common? I'm looking to some of the other lists and I don't see it.
It's a
well, so
common in JP.
Yeah, so the interaction that with Rapid that you could do specifically is with Cherubi. So you go Cherubi, play out Rapid, and then block with Rapid, and then that will also inflict the -4, and vice versa. Cherubi aligns with Rapid. Also the -4.
You swing alliance. Yeah.
So.
I get the synergy. Just didn't expect it to be common because I didn't see it in other lists recently.
It's a pretty low angel count, so I wonder if he ever ran into that issue.
And then also, so he is on double Uko, right? Double Uko giving you a little bit more like that searching prowess to find those angels. So maybe that is help compensating for the lower count. Not running Salamons. I feel like Salamon's a really good card, but Ukomon definitely giving you a bit more consistency because if you notice, he is on 0 memory boosts. So no boost, no training. So like the consistency has to come from somewhere. And he's
looks so bricky.
Yeah, so he's opted for the 4 Toko and the Uko. So I'm very interested on how that dynamic played with the Mirage matchup, right? Because like you have these cards that are like constantly getting like drawing you value. But yeah, overall, I really like the approach that like this this approach with the EX4 Shadow Serafi, I feel like was really interesting. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So huge kudos to him, right?
Yeah, congrats.
Mm-hmm. And then
Totally.
7th grade Demon Lords.
This deck is terrifying. This deck is like, this is the deck that's like, hey, I don't think it's gonna be there, but if someone's playing it, they have to be an expert in it, right?
Yeah.
And it is night and day between playing someone. Like, I think this deck has probably one of the lower conversion rates, but the people who win with it are like Tezzero.
Yeah,
so you're just like, these guys are
some
monsters.
some interesting.
So this is a lot more of an emphasis on the Lucamon variant, right? Where
Yeah.
you're trying to get like this Lucamon loop off. You have Mastodon to get like another Lucamon out and do all this like these shenanigans, right? Obviously, this deck is a really great Mirage counter. Just being able to like your hand size is generally low, so it's like hard for Mirage to actually get a lot of value. I feel like.
That's also the one of Moon.
Yeah,
Millennium
Moon is really good for like purple hybrid matchups and whatnot. Historically, I know Tamer decks can be a little bit tricky since like you don't have a lot of ways to interact with them prior to Moon Millie. So I think this is like a really great addition to the deck. Since like you like cheat out the 6, go and then just like go Moon and like okay, cool.
You also have Lavia X too.
Yeah, Lavia X is also really great for that. And then of course we have the new Lucamon X. I remember James here was trying his best to grief me with this card. He had like 3 of them in here, and it did not work out.
3 is not the way.
No.
I was testing it.
Yeah, but
how do you test a one of like you never see it?
Hey man.
I know.
But yeah, I definitely do think that 7th grade Demon Lords. I mean, it's I feel like it's a pretty solid meta call, right? It's like if you expect to see a Mirage, like this is obviously gonna do super well into them. You have all like these various security bombs, so if they decide to like they have to play in your face, like try and OTK you or something like that, then like obviously you just have like you have biting Barrage 7, possible dead or alive into Lucamon, right?
Yeah, but then Otama just.
Yeah. If you,
so it's like...
Well, so no. Okay, so they're on one Porcupa and one Pummel Whack. That's their Otama answer. And I don't see I don't see a different Otama answer. But like also like we talked about, a lot of Mirage lists have obviously two out of the 3 top Mirage lists were on the Otama, but I feel like on average we don't see Otama as often anyway. So it might just be like a non-issue for them. So
and if the Mirage is dumb enough to swing, then they'll probably just die to security.
Yeah, exactly right. So overall, I feel like 7th grade Demon Lords was probably in like a really solid position in the format. 3 Great Angels, I know historically is a little bit more of a difficult matchup. So if that deck starts to pick up steam, this might be a little bit more tricky because then like you're relying on Beelzemon to try to like bail you out in that situation, right? To like de-digivolve the Domini.
Yeah.
And if they ever get like double Domini, then like it might be just cooked. But
Wraps.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
All right.
And then there's another 3 Great Angels list, right?
Oh yeah, there is. I forgot about that. Okay.
Just before we talk about this, I just want to say one thing. Going into this tournament, there was 2 Ulti Cups before. So 2 Ulti Cups in like 2 weeks, in the space of 2 weeks before. The first one, there was only 4 like Dominimon Turbo decks. It had a 50% conversion rate to Top Cup.
Okay.
And then the week after, there was another Ulti Cup and then a 100% conversion rate to Top Cup.
That's insane.
So coming into this tournament, it was well known that this deck was like tier 1.
Yeah.
Like top 4 decks in the format. And it's proven evident again in this top 8, I think. And this top 32.
No, the 3 Great Angels definitely should be on everyone's radar. It's just a really strong deck. I'll be very interested to see if this causes like any adaptations towards deck building. Like maybe we'll see like higher counts of like Zudo, for example, right? Especially with the new. With the new EX4 Shadow Serafi, I feel like maybe we'll start to see that a little bit more, just so like they have counterplay to not just get like locked out of the game, right?
Yeah,
I guess that's fair.
I mean, also, it's just well positioned to the meta right now. Yeah. Like we just randomly got into a meta where just a lot of deletion is powerful. So same argument as before is because deletion got a lot more powerful. You run counter to deletion,
So you're saying it's time for Lord Knight. I'm ready.
Yeah, Lord Knight's probably one of the few decks that has a really good 3 Great Angel matchup, right? You just
It's time to
Digivolve,
convert.
Collision.
I am very surprised of like Lord Knight not seeing any result at all.
My depression.
Lord Knight is such a fair deck, and like the
It just doesn't clear floodgates, man. I hate it.
It just doesn't do anything inherently unfair, which I think is crazy. Because on paper the card is insane, right? Like,
yeah, it was just interesting because that was a lot of hype from Japan with Lord Knight.
Well, I mean, it was doing so well in JP, yeah, but then
coming into this set, there was a lot of hype around Lord Knight, and then it just kind of didn't really do too much.
Well, because it was A, you struggle in the floodgates. B, you don't OTK. C, no protection, right?
Yeah. Lord Knight having no blocker is also a pretty big.
Yeah, negative. Your top end.
Lord Knight X, sorry, Lord Knight X specifically not having blocker.
Yeah. Also, like you're no like actual ace threat, right? Like there's no Beelzebub blast mode ace yet. Yeah. So just overall, like it was so weird. It's like a fever dream, to be honest with you, because it was doing so hot, and then it just immediately crashed and burned. But like, hey, with three great angels coming into the format this strongly as well, maybe Lord Knight will finally have its time to shine, right?
It's my time.
Yeah,
I want Lord Knight to be good so bad.
God, and then we do have the other three great angels list. This one I feel like is a little bit more standard or akin to like what people would expect when you say three great angels. Also on Uko, actually, now that I noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
two final Excalibur too.
Yeah, two final Excalibur. The other list was on 0.
You're trying to sauce them.
2 Uko is very interesting, I think. Maybe Uko is the wave, but and then we do have
the Searcher.
Yeah, Searcher Lux, 3 pillows. They are playing the EX6 Angemon, which is so this Angemon is 3 cost over anything that is Sympatamon. Whereas this is just like a generic 2, and then like having extra Monzo Barrier is just really great synergy with the Cupimon. We do see the 4 Magna Ange, which I know a lot of lists are only on 3. So I'm curious now, why 3 versus having 4? Well, this is such like a playmaker card, right?
I mean, when I played in EX6, there's times where you just have redundancies in slots. And like, yes, you can high roll with it, but do I want to give you 5-7 memory to do that, or do I just want to, choke you?
Well, like the thing with I guess the argument is like the thing with it is that it doesn't fix your play if you have like a bad setup, because it's reliant on you having the specific card in security, right? So there's a lot of situation where you run into where this card just doesn't do anything. Like, it's a very powerful card when it goes off, obviously, but there's a scenario where you have nothing in security and you're unable to set up, and this card doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't change the game state of your security, so to speak.
All right, and then also one of Edamon. I feel like Edamon is just like such a crazy card ever since it was like entered. It was since New Memon format, right? Like that's when it like really took off. And as somebody who definitely abused Edamon to win regionals back then, yeah, that card is broken. Like it single-handedly like removes board states on its own, right? Like whether it's like forcing your opponent to play into like a Shadow Serafi or like forcing them to like Cherubi, it's just like really strong.
Only one is kind of crazy. I thought there'd be more.
Yeah. Also noticeably also on 3 Cherubi. So yeah. And also,
I mean,
the one
Taunt Ace is just inherently powerful.
Yeah, Taunt Ace with a -3 attached, right? And that -3 is very significant. It's a lingering -3, right? So against decks like Magnamon, that gives you like a lot of mileage.
It's interesting to see like decks that was strong previously just completely fell off. Like Duragora is like basically non-existent.
I think it's a lot in part because Purple Hybrid is such a hard matchup for that deck. As well as I can't imagine the Mirage Epidemic is doing you very well, as well as the Takamika Epidemic, right? Like you get -16 and you're like, oof.
Yeah, Take is probably pretty rough.
All right, but yeah, overall,
Purple's biggest enemy is still itself.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, overall, I feel like this is a lot more akin to like what we'd expect to see from 3 Great Angels. But again, congrats to both players. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
And then we do have Purple Hybrid, the only Purple Hybrid in Top Cut actually. And this one is on the AG Luga engine, which we've seen a lot of players adopt. Being able to use the Luga, get out the free AG, and then you can Evo over the AG, and then unline link it at the end of your turn. So that way you're constantly having Tamers to play with. They also do run the Louis for the additional aggression. Interestingly enough, we do see the Delta to assist with popping like opposing like Gazis and whatnot, I imagine.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then Argo as well, giving you a way to play against the mirror, just stunning out their Koichis and whatnot. So overall, this list seems like it was pretty well adopted for the mirror, especially if you were expecting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Delta also enables some really neat play where if they have specific level setup, you can snipe one and then use the Delta in combination with the Dust combo to snipe specific level. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, a lot of really cool things with the purple hybrid here. Jambo, I know you've been playing a whole ton of purple hybrid recently. That's also the deck you took to nationals.
I really like this build. The logic with the Wuga AG engine in junction instead of using the BT8 Koichi makes a lot of sense. If you just want tamers to keep in rotation, it's objectively better. Sure, you miss out on the Koichi starter main memory, which is just another discard outlet.
Yeah.
And then potentially the recursion that the Koichi gives, but you make up with it with more consistent bodies to threaten on board, and then it doesn't really matter eventually, because eventually when you see calling in rotation, and when you have calling and mat in rotation, you essentially have infinite callings.
Yeah, I mean this deck is ridiculous when it goes off. Like you can mill 20 cards in a turn.
Yeah.
And the AG starter main is just more consistent than the Koichi, because a lot of times with the Koichi you'll notice that you don't have enough hybrid names in hand to actually get full value from it. Like 99% of the time you're pitching either Kaiser or Velga, and that is it. So just having the consistent start of main memory is always good.
So I didn't even realize until you pointed it out. Yeah, he doesn't run the new Koichi whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that was such a popular card that we saw, so it's really interesting that he's decided to like cut it for like I assume making room for the AG engine, like you said, Jambo.
Yeah, I've seen lists that doesn't run it and they just go full purple. It makes sense.
Yeah, if you're not running the yellow cards.
Yeah.
He also runs the Return to Darkness or calling from darkness.
Yeah, calling.
So you can just recall your stuff through that and your rivals. I like it. I think it's a good adaptation because slamming for 4 sucks. So
I would also imagine not having yellow means you're probably doing a little bit better in the mirror as well, because it's one less color that you're giving your opponent to try and mill you out with.
Yeah. So that's a very cool adaptation that I wouldn't think of.
Yeah.
The Argamon, in my opinion, going forward for double hybrid is almost like a mandatory one of.
Really? Okay.
It's not even just for the mirror. It's not even just for the mirror. It's just for like every other hybrid deck. Because unless you're playing green hybrid, right? But like who the fuck's playing green hybrid? No other hybrid deck has this option.
Right.
There's no other hybrid deck can make this.
Actually, red hybrid can, because Kazemon and Zephyrmon are part green. Actually,
unalive yourself. All right, stop.
Why don't you make that list and show us?
That's Moment's job. Moment got this.
So just for like hybrid decks, it's just it's such a house against hybrid decks. You just like against red hybrid, you suspend all their tamers. They have to literally just make a Genie in the back and see what happens.
What do you guys say is this deck worst matchup?
For me, in testing,
Mirage?
Probably Hexablow decks.
Yeah.
It was like they resolve Hexa once, they put you on 1. 99% of the time, you're never winning that game.
Yeah.
You're down
that was a lot of the times. Like DNA armor as well. Basically, if they resolve Hexablow, you auto lose the game.
Yeah.
That's what I found in testing. Also, fucking birds. Mirage is a fucking matchup. Play against a single birds player and you'll tear your fucking hair out. It's dreadful. You can't interact with them because they go plus 90.
Yeah, I can't stand
it.
It's all monocolor.
I experienced birds for the first time. I was like, this is not fun. This is not the seat I want to be in right now.
Bluebirds or redbirds?
Redbirds.
Who's playing bluebirds?
Yeah, what's bluebirds? What are you cooking, bro?
Who's over Xiao Pengbon? The fuck?
But yeah, so that is all 8 lists from the EU Top Cut. So overall, what does this mean for NA and possibly Oceania Nationals? Obviously, I know they have an entirely new set to add onto their stuff, so like it's a little bit less relevant here. But for us, I mean, like we're getting Scramble and like new Aces. That's about it, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
think ultimately
They don't care about
Scramble
this.
will probably make Mirage. It'll make Mirage better. It'll make
Mhm.
Take better.
Yeah, if you're coming to Nats trying to win it, you should be playing Mirage. I think that's pretty objective. Now, NA is pretty weird,
Mhm.
so I wonder if there's going to be an uptick in Mirage
do
hard counters.
Yeah.
do you guys
Uh,
think you replace the emissary slot with Yellow Scramble for Trigger Angel?
no, I think
No.
I wouldn't. Emissary is crazy.
Yeah.
I understand, but yeah.
Um,
I think
and
emissary because like the logic is like you scramble Pada Evo, like I get that, but at the same time,
yeah,
like how often are you getting your board actually cleared, right? Like the whole point of your deck is to stick, you know.
Yeah,
exactly.
fair enough.
So I feel like I like on paper it sounds really good, but like in execution it probably doesn't work out as well as you like imagine it to.
Maybe
Um,
both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
maybe you run both, right? Obviously we also get Gabu Bond Ace, which for Gabu Rush players, that's pretty nice for them. For Mirage, I know a lot of Japanese lists, or just Asia lists in general, have adopted a one of Gabu Bond for the Mirage
Yeah,
deck, so that's also a little bit annoying, right? Um, and then Bugs get Shiva, Machine gets Cyber. I think that's pretty much all the relevant aces, right? Leviah gets Purple Scramble, which is pretty good for them.
and Take as well.
Yeah, Take also gets Purple Scramble, so
Yeah.
I mean, really,
I wonder.
it's just blue and purple that are really benefiting from this. I feel like.
Yeah, it really is. So the
Um,
meta doesn't really change.
mhm,
It's more so what people are doing and what people are doing in their testing corners.
mhm,
I
Yeah.
actually, the meta is just so wide where I think you did a good job covering everything, and we really just saw how it shook out. I mean, Mirage is just the most consistent deck.
yeah,
So if you're
Yeah.
trying to win, it's probably like that's the choice to bring,
mhm,
but you can be rewarded and make day two just for bringing a bunch of stuff. So,
yeah,
Yeah, I think
you know,
so. I think if NA had happened, so like we move everything forward like a couple months and say like we go into this format kind of blind,
mhm.
going up only Japanese result and say we have like LM set, right? Like, and we didn't have all this result. I think LK would be really popular. Purple Hybrid would be really popular, right?
mhm.
But given the result that's shaken up so far, and
Well,
as you
I
mentioned,
I don't, I don't know if LK would have been popular actually. I think LK kind of fell off a cliff even before this, right?
It
Like
did, it did.
no
well,
LK,
not
no
this
LK.
specific event, but I think
Well,
like
that's
the
what I'm saying. Like no LK, no
yeah,
LK, no LK, little LK, little LK, no
yeah.
LK. First event
Well,
LK.
yeah, it just kind of gradually fell off as other decks got more popular.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see. Like, and Purple Hybrid is kind of starting to fall off too because, as you guys said, it doesn't have the greatest matchup
Yeah.
into Mirage, which is going to be a really popular deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was
yeah,
fun.
So
like
purple.
like Hexblock just make that matchup
Mhm.
really difficult. So it'll be interesting to see what NA meta end up looking like because if before all these events, I kind of figured like Purple Hybrid will be more popular, but now just looking at the matchup spread, maybe less people will take it than expected. You know?
I think the funniest part is that like from Asia, like okay, well LK is the big boogeyman, Purple Hybrid's the big boogeyman, and then no, it all boils down back to this stupid
Blue
dog.
dogs.
Yeah.
This fucking dog.
Like no
It's
matter
okay.
where we turn, it's always like a dog format. Like Bandai just really like it's a purple dog, it's a blue dog, like eventually we're gonna get green dog and black dog, and then like it's
Unban my Gabu.
red dog. Like
I think
it's uh whatever. I digress. I just
Give me back for Hammer Spark.
it's okay. I'm gonna win Nats with LK. I'm gonna show the world.
yeah. All right, so I think that basically sums up the event going and what we think going into NA nationals, right? Like play Mirage if you want to probably win the event.
Yeah.
But there's other good choices like Three Great Angels, Imperial, Seven Demon, Purple Hybrid, right?
In before Zero
And
Mirage
Red
make top
Hybrid and
8.
Take. I think
Yeah,
this event, like, I wouldn't be surprised. I think we're gonna have a lot more Take
yeah, I think so too.
because
Yeah,
Yeah,
NA
it would be
loves
really
Take.
funny. Like, I'm just saying, it'd be really funny if Zero Mirage make top 8 and NA Nats and then dodge another panelist.
that would be funny.
Yeah, bro. If there's a bunch of Take, I can see it, bro. Take is miserable.
Yeah.
They just and you give them cards? No, yeah, it's asking for a bad time, bro.
Alrighty, so that is going to be the end of this video. Do any of you guys have any closing statements?
Nope. See y'all at Nats.
All right,
Bad Mirage.
all right, James.
Gundam would be fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. He didn't get into the event because he doesn't have an invite. Because he's a nerd.
Dang.
All right, but all jokes aside, thank you all. If you managed to stick around to the very end of this video, thank you for supporting. Again, the Hoang Zero channel. I know it's been a little while since I've uploaded. Life has been busy. Brand new apartment, as you can see in my background. I know the rest of you guys can't see it, but people watching at home, they can see the new background and whatnot.
I want to see.
Come over.
You've seen it.
You
Actually, I have not. I actually have not.
wait, whatever. The last thing I do want to say is, as a reminder, the Hoang Zero channel does have a Patreon. I'll make sure to link it in the description down below. Be sure to check that out. If you have not yet, please subscribe to the channel because it does help a lot. So thank you all so much for watching, and peace out.